Actually, it's the lead play in our offense.
Double tackle, take the defensive end if he's over him. If he's not, you drive down the first man to his inside. Pull back and tell him to take the first man outside the offensive tackle. No one shows. Go right by him and field inside. If the YN has the linebacker taken out, he cuts inside. If the YN has the linebacker in, he comes all the way around. If you look at this play, what we're trying to get is a seal here and a seal here, and try to run this play in the alley.
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on Packernet.com. You can find me on Twitter at Packers_access. I'm joined alongside Jacob from the Packernet Fantasy Podcast. We've got Tim in Green Bay. We got college football on all day long. Sitting here, screen to the right, we've got Texas and Bama on. Pat McAfee and the boys walking the sidelines. It doesn't get any better than this, fellas. I'm just telling you, football is completely back. How you guys doing, Jacob? How you doing, bub?
Man, I'm good. I got oh shoot. Should I turn off my TV in the back? I guess I didn't even think about that. That dingus.
Hey, you know what? Let it roll. Just let it roll. Let's see what happens. Heck with it.
I got my Badgers up back there. Did y'all see what Colorado did again?
Huh? Oh yeah, dude. I'm telling you, bro. And he literally looked at the camera and said, I told y'all, we're coming.
I mean, I saw they're 2-0 for the first time since 2020, which doesn't sound like that big of a stat, but when you look at the people they played and kind of where people thought they'd be, I mean, is it Shador,
I think is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, the dude's got Heisman stats out the first 2 weeks, bro. 511 yards in the first week. And then I don't know what he finished with today. It had to be over 300. Had to be.
Yeah, dude, he's real deal, and it's hilarious because everybody kind of doubted him. You know, they're the normal opinion, the normal response. Well, that's Deion's boy. Of course, he's going to let him play. Blah blah blah. And then you've got the other guy. What is it? Travis Hunter? Is that his name? It plays both sides of the ball. Just a freaking beast.
Yeah,
I think it's Hunter
playing like 200 snaps a game.
Yeah, dude, unbelievable, man. That kid is. And what's crazy is, and this is Deion talking, but again, Deion been talking and we ain't been listening. He said that Travis is worthy of the number one pick as a wide receiver or a cornerback, is what he's saying. And everybody's going that just like they're doing with Shador. They're going, I don't know. Okay, just bet against Deion's all I got to say. Go ahead, Tim. What were you gonna say?
How crazy would it be to see him go to the next level and continue to play on both sides of the ball, which we haven't seen in the NFL since what, Deion?
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, I don't know, man, but that was fun to watch. I caught a little bit of that game, bits and pieces this afternoon.
Yeah, definitely. Let's give a shout out to everybody in the chat. We got Emilio in the house. He says, game time, folks, less than 24 hours. Got Cheesehead Murph in the house saying, let's go Pack, go. And of course, Chad Inc. swinging through. PTA Posse in the house. Love it. And of
course,
Elevated Shine. Yeah. I love inside jokes. I love to be a part of one someday. You, I tell you what, man, unbelievable.
All right, hey, that's just the way we talk in the clink.
Prison Mike, man, I swear, always getting in here and cranking it up. United Bates. Hey, United Bates, I want to give you a shout out real quick, man. For those of you who watched earlier, we did a Chalk Talk episode, broke down some Packers-Bears from that last game they played against each other last year. And Emilio let me know after the stream went offline. He said, you see what United Bates did? And I was like, oh, God, what did they do in the chat? I didn't even see it. I'm by myself. Usually Jacob's going, Clayton, look at the chat. You know what I mean? So I'm flying solo. I have no idea what's going on, right? And I go back, or I didn't even have to go back. Emilio said that he donated several memberships to people that were in the chat that weren't members. And I didn't even know you could do that, which is really cool.
Cool.
Wow.
So essentially, yeah, I just thought that was awesome, and just wanted to give a shout out to United Bates, dude. You're awesome. If Emilio was telling the truth, you're awesome. If Emilio misunderstood that, then United Bates is going, what the hell are they talking about? But I'm assuming that's what happened. If so, man, we appreciate you, buddy, for sure. Let's see here. Roger Davis. Roger, how you going to be like that already, man? What's wrong with you, dude? Roger Davis said, show me the D.
That's what she said.
That's how Saturday nights go, boys. It gets a little off the rails quick. Cheesehead Murph in the house. Zane Strong. Game day tomorrow. Can't wait. It's finally here. Go Pack Go, man. It feels like it's been forever. I'm excited. I am absolutely jacked. John Schmidt, less than 24 hours. And, of course, Emilio said, yeah, I hope I didn't mess up. I do too, man, because now I look like a moron, which I always look like a moron, but you just aided in me looking more like a moron. So there we go. We got a little bit of news that dropped, Jacob. I'm going to hit on this real quick, Tim. So it sounds like halfback Patrick Taylor was elevated from the practice squad, as well as cornerback Enos Gaines. Now, keep in mind, remember what Paul Brettel said about Enos Gaines. They kind of looked at him as the backup slot corner, right? And, when they cut him or waived him, I guess you could say, they assumed he would clear waivers. He did. And now it's literally like you have a 54 spot on the roster, which is absolutely awesome. In this case, 55 spots, right? Of course, you've only got, what is it on active game day? Is it 45? Am I thinking right, Jacob?
I think I want to say
something like that. So anyway, we're bringing up Patrick Taylor. So we now have 3 active running backs, right? Or is that 4? That's 4, right? Am I thinking right?
Right, because of Wilson, right?
Yeah. So we've got, yeah.
So that just right away, I start thinking, like, what does that mean? Why would we do that? If anything, I thought we'd bring up a wide receiver. Well, does that mean it's a tip of the hat that LaFleur is going to go run heavy? Because to me, that's kind of what I see. I don't know.
Or we're going to see more Aaron Jones in the passing game. Maybe Aaron Jones is going to be utilized more as a receiver.
Exactly. Yep.
With 4, and this just popped in my mind. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I thought about this before we went live, but immediately I just think, okay, yeah, we're probably going to see a lot of pony package, flex Aaron Jones out wide. That way you've got fresh legs. You got 4 pairs of legs there at the running back position. Now, another thing, they did not elevate any wide receivers. And I think it was Rob Domofsky, somebody on Twitter said that would lead you to believe that they feel good about Romeo Doubs, right? So, okay, that's great news. And we all know we're going to hit on the injury report here in a second. But that means they feel good about Romeo Doubs. And then, of course, like Tim said, it also means they feel really good about Dontavian Wicks, who was pretty much full participation now. But also, when you look at it that way, if you didn't elevate another running back, that's another tip of the hand to say, okay, probably going to lean on 4 running backs as opposed to 5 wide receivers, right? So just stuff to kind of keep an eye on. And let's do this real quick. I'm going to no, we appreciate you, United Bates. Thank you for doing that, buddy. Seriously, man, these are the type of listeners we're looking for, people that actually give a rip about other people and can get along in the chat and just talk ball. But, man, yeah, we're glad you're a part of this group for sure, dude. Let's do this. Let's go to the injury report real quick. We got an updated injury report. This is the final injury report that was released. So David Bakhtiari obviously did not participate, but it's veteran rest. He's going to be active. Romeo Doubs is questionable for the game. According to Matt LaFleur, he goes out there tomorrow morning, tests it out. If he feels good, he's going to be a full go. Rashawn Gary still limited participation, but we're expecting him to be on a pitch count / snap count. Anthony Johnson Jr. full participation. We had Christian Watson did not participate. He is officially out of this game, so he will be inactive. I like that move. Hey, if it's a hammy, rest that thing, get him ready for the next game, right? And then you got Dontavian Wicks, which was full participation. Now on the Bears side, you had Brisker, their DB. He's full participation now. Dylan Cole, linebacker, limited participation. He is questionable, game time decision. Nate Davis, offensive lineman, full participation. Eddie Jackson, full participation. Mercedes Lewis, full participation. And DeMarcus Walker, defensive lineman, full participation. Now, one thing that did come across the wire that I think Rob Domofsky tweeted out, and he had basically quote tweeted a blue check Twitter account called Bears Communications. So it seemed pretty legit is what I'm trying to get at. Pretty large following. They said Bob Tunyon, tight end for the Bears, is now questionable for the game. So something happened there that he was downgraded to questionable. So with that being said, Jacob, injury report. What sticks out to you, big dog?
Well, when I look at it through my lens, I look at it through a fantasy lens. So when I heard that Watson isn't playing, it's just like, oh, great. Like almost every team I drafted is without their, in my opinion, one of the best wide receivers out there. Is just as far as fantasy goes. Then you look at it through if Romeo Doubs is ready to go. Well, if he's not, or even if he is, I wanted to get you guys' opinion on this. What I think is that, again, through a fantasy lens, but even just on a trying to diagnose what the game's going to look like. If Romeo Doubs is good to go, even if he's 100%, which we know he's not, because He wouldn't be on the injury report if he was 100%. Do you keep him at that standard X, or does Malik Heath drift into that role? You maybe take a Jaden Reed and you put him on the other outside perimeter, and you maybe take a Samori Toure and make him kind of that slot guy. Because Jaden Reed did that at Michigan State. A lot of people think because the guy's 5'11", very, I wouldn't say very small, but he's not a typical wide receiver prototype, right? Usually guys that are like 6'3", 6'4", they're massive, big guys, decent amount of speed. Usually when you look at Christian Watson, lots of speed, but Toure and Reed are just kind of not that same mold. So I think that I look at Malik Heath, I look at what they think that he could do in the run blocking game as also like I think he's just a dominant receiver, man. I think he's a possession receiver. If Dobbs, which we know is not 100%, I think we put Malik Heath out there. We got Jordan Reed or Jalen Reed at the other side. And I just think there's going to be a lot of Luke Musgrave is what I think in this game. I think, like we talked about what Tim said, Aaron Jones utilized a ton in the passing game. Dylan's probably going to be that smash mouth, taking over the bulk of the run carries is what I think. And then I think that you got some guys that are peppering in. I think Luke Musgrave is going to get 10 catches. I think he's going to be a freak. I think that's what's going to happen.
Dude, if Luke Musgrave comes away tomorrow with 10 catches, put it on the ticker. I'm buying an autographed jersey tomorrow. It's happening.
I got that feeling, dude.
That would be absolutely awesome for sure. And I like what you're saying about Malik Heath, out there in the X. To me, his strength is posts and deep digs coming across the middle. And then on top of that, having him out there in separation. I mean, you could go a little nasty look, right? The what do you call it? Nasty split with the X and kick him inside just a touch too, to help in the running game. But yeah, I feel good about Malik Heath, man. I really do. Now, when it comes to Romeo Dobbs, Tim, I think you put him out there, right? I think you put him out there and see how it feels, see how it goes. If something happens and you're fortunate enough to jump up by a couple scores and start trailing them off a little bit, right? Start backing off the reps a touch. And something that Emilio mentioned here in the chat, I want to say, Emilio's asking, will they dress Wilson though? That's a good point, because I don't know when the deadline is, Emilio, if you do put it in the chat, but they may choose not to dress Emmanuel Wilson, right? That's something they could do. And obviously they've got him on the active roster to protect him because they don't think anyone else was interested in Patrick Taylor. It's just Goody playing chess for sure. But Tim, how do you feel about what Jacob said with Malik Heath, Romeo Dobbs specifically? How would you like to see them use Romeo Dobbs, I should say?
I'm right there with you, Jacob. I couldn't agree more. And the nasty is what we all love, especially some bunch nasty. And I think you're right with Heath, man. You put that guy in between the numbers, like you were talking about in the Chalk Talk. Nasty is the alignment, in between the numbers. And, he plays effectively there. We've seen it already in small doses during the month of August. So that's definitely something that I'd like to see. Romeo, as far as his load or how he's going to be utilized, I'm with you too, Clayton. Like we should put him out there. He's young enough. And I think he's had the most time I think he was the first guy who tweaked the hamstring. So he's been probably rehabbing this a little longer than Scoot and Tay Wicks have. So I think Romeo should be fine. It's funny because, I was reading somewhere that, Romeo's basically our veteran wideout in this lineup, the most games and most snaps last year. And, it's funny for any second year player in this type of situation. I don't think we could want anybody better than Romeo Dobbs. He seems poised. He doesn't look like a year two guy. I think he's going to step into that leadership role really well. So it'll be great to see him on Sunday.
Definitely. And when you talk about Romeo Dobbs, even though he's just a second year playing, being kind of that veteran presence in the wide receiver room, the thing that pops in my mind is exactly what you talked about, Jacob, how I think it's since his junior year in college, Romeo Dobbs' junior year in college, he has worked out with Jordan Love in the offseason. So they've got that that chemistry, and it goes a long way, when you're talking about other young receivers trying to get used to a new quarterback. Mastermind in the chat said, we have to stop the run first and force Fields to throw. The Packers should put Jayden Reed on the outside in place of Christian Watson. I love it. A lot of people don't understand this because I'm not going to mention them by name, but some of the more popular radio one of the more popular a few of the more popular radio guys that cover the Packers, they're constantly mentioning Jayden Reed as a slot. Jayden Reed is a slot. As I talked about on Chalk Talk earlier, it's not necessarily the slot as it is the flyer, right? And how that receiver is utilized. He's hardly ever lined up in the slot, but you motion him into the slot or motion it away from the slot. But also, they don't mention that when he was at Michigan State, how much he lined up he was on the boundary more than he was in the slot. So he can play that boundary receiver like Watson.
Over 50% he lined up on the boundary.
There you go. So, yeah, I'm with you, Mastermind. Let him stretch the defense. You need someone to stretch the defense, especially if you're – like we talked about when they play this zone drop defense over there in Chicago, whether they mix in man or not, and I'm sure they will mix in man, but when they play that zone, you run a flood concept. You want to flood the zones. You literally want to stress one defender and force him to cover multiple receivers. That's the negative aspect of zone, with the positive being you're always keeping everything in front of you and you're facing a mobile quarterback, right? And facing the run as well. But when you talk about that flood concept, who are you going to have to take the top off the defense, right? Jayden Reed's perfect for that. I think they said 4.37 was what the Packers had him clock. That's what Paul Brettel said.
Yep.
So there you go. This right here too, I'm excited about this. SoPro says DJ Moore versus Jair will be fun if the alignment dictates it, right? If they have Jair following DJ Moore, I'm just going to tell you, I don't expect it. You may see it occasionally like they did that second meeting against Minnesota there with Justin Jefferson. I don't expect it this game, but if you see it, Jair should dominate DJ Moore. DJ Moore is a good wide receiver. He is not a great wide receiver. Jair Alexander is a great cornerback, borderline elite cornerback. I think he kind of fluctuates between elite and great personally. That's just me. Let's see what else we got here. Elevated Shine said Matt LaFleur feisty lately in the press conferences, and they seem to be under 5 minutes. He's been given nothing. Jacob, we talked about that the other day, didn't we? LaFleur seems to be getting a little chippy.
If you actually look there's like 6 other comments in the chat, and they all said, yup. And I watched the same thing. He doesn't give a rip anymore. I remember watching Matt LaFleur in his first couple of press conferences, and it's like, oh, yeah, real happy to be here. Yeah, like just, eyebrows on fleek. And then I love it. I don't like exactly. I don't like the aw shucks Matt LaFleur. I want Matt LaFleur to be the all gas, no effing break guy. All right. So I like this new attitude, and you watch him, dude. He has no time for any of it. They're going, well, what about Watson? What do you think about this? He goes, you want me to just give you the game plan? Is that what you want? You want me to just give you the injury report? What do you want? You want me just to tell it to you in front of that? Like he doesn't give a what anymore. Oh, yeah. And I like that about him. I need him to get a more of a calloused ego there. Could stop being more the pretty boy guy. And what we've talked about, though, the guys even said it. I believe it was Kenny Clark in an interview said this has been the hardest practice or mini camp / off season that he's ever been a part of. And they asked him especially why. He said everything from the tone, the tempo, the schedule, that they're asking a lot out of these guys. And when you stop and think about it, if Matt LaFleur is the coach I hope and think he is, he realizes that I've just lost a ton of depth at veterans. Mercedes Lewis left. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers left. Lazard, Cobb, a lot of other guys left this organization. Tunyon. And now he's seemingly saying, hey, new guys, this is the way we're doing it from now on. We're not doing the old stuff anymore. We don't sit here and play patty cake. We're going to actually start hitting each other. We're going to actually start playing a lot of physical practices, and we're going to start doing scrimmages. We're going to play our starters in the preseason in the two quarters. I think that's massive. That's massive. You cannot tell me that this team is not more advanced than other teams in this year specifically, but in any year, specifically a Packer year, because the Packers, we put bubble wrap around these guys and we didn't let them see the field. And we lost the last 4 freaking week ones, right?
Yeah.
Because we're not ready to play. And Matt LaFleur said, all right, I got a bunch of young dudes and a bunch of young guys. They're going to be ready to play week 1. Whether or not they're going to be hurt or injured, we're going to make sure that these guys went through the meat grinder. I kind of like that.
Yeah, I do too, man. I do. R. Shower says the preseason has been basic as basic could be. They've shown nothing with any wrinkle even. That's the thing too. Look at the lack of pre-snap motion in the preseason, guys. Like I'm telling you, I expect them to come out tomorrow and there to be bodies going everywhere, every direction pre-snap for sure. John Schmidt in the chat, member of the PTA posse, says the secondary seems to be the strength of the Bears D, so it makes sense to attack with tight end and running backs on the linebackers. I don't know, man. I kind of see the linebackers as the strength personally, and I'm not saying I'm right and you're wrong. It's just kind of how I see it. I trust PFF a lot, and I think that they are, Edmonds is more of a pass cover tight end or a pass cover linebacker, and of course Edwards is a more well-rounded linebacker, right? I see the weak spot being the left side of the front and their corners. That's personally me. And I'll pull it up here real quick while we're at it. Might as well, right? Let's pull up their defense real quick. This is their nickel defense. If you see it, I know it's kind of hard for you guys to see, but hopefully you can make it out. I'll kind of read it off from left to right. Cornerback on the left side of the field, 62.9. Slot corner, they've got Gordon there at a 49.8. On the defensive front there at right outside linebacker / edge, 62.4. At right end, which will be your 1-3 technique on the left side against the left side of your offensive line, is only a 45.8. And then, of course, Stevenson's a rookie corner on the opposite side. So I would like to see them attack the running game off the left side, run weak, load it strong, get them to roll that gap integrity to the right side and go stretch weak. And then also attacking the RPO game out there on the perimeter when it comes to that side of the ball as well. Let's see here. So John Schmidt says 1 hour to game time is the deadline for active. So that's when we'll find out. Everybody, Mike Hebring is saying it too. Wilson will be a healthy scratch. Sounds like it. All right, good deal. We got a super chat here. Let's see what Josh Martin says. Watson is close to the injury-prone category type of player. I really hope they can rein in his injuries. Yeah, I love Christian Watson. I think he's a hard worker. I think he's got just an endless amount of talent. But anyone who doesn't look at the fact that, it's hard for him to stay on the field, then they're just choosing to turn a blind eye to it. It is what it is. And it's like I think you were saying the other day, Tim, when you got a guy that runs that fast, a guy that's got that much explosion, you're going to pull hammies, right? And there's going to be a thin line between keeping those knees and hamstrings healthy when you're running with that kind of torque, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, I think as fans, it's important to remember that, when guys are hurt a lot, it's easy for us to just want to assign blame. Is it strength and conditioning? Is it is it the player himself? Is it something in his workouts? And we tend to get critical. And guys, it's football. This stuff happens. I mean, we could probably run down injury reports across the league, and there's hamstrings galore. It's a part of the game, and it sucks when you see it kind of happening to certain guys maybe more often than it does to other guys. There's guys who can play a full career and not have hamstring issues, but they may have ankle issues or back issues or shoulder issues, so injuries are part of the game. I know it sounds like a cliche. I just hope that Scoot is back on the field sooner than later. And hey, it's going to be one of those things when it's, someone's down, next man up. And when you are available, even if you're not quite 100%, let's get the most out of our guys that we can when we can get it. And, we're going to win as a team this year, guys. So, keep Scoot in your prayers, and hopefully he sees the field again soon. If he's got to miss a game to be able to play the next, 7 to 10 or 12 or 14 in a row, then I say that's great. So let's give him time and see just how serious this is as we go forward.
Definitely. And again, Josh Martin, thank you so much for the super chat, buddy. We appreciate you. Nostalgic in the chat says, I hope the players and staff get up for this game. The Bears are treating this like it's their Super Bowl. I don't know, man. I guess they kind of are. They're running that mouth, though. You usually don't hear people running the mouth before the Super Bowl. I'm telling you, now Brisker's coming out talking trash. Now, we hate Green Bay. You heard the other no-name defensive lineman that came out and talked about how the fans in Green Bay were, trash and this and that. And I know it's all about hype and building up hype for the game and all that good stuff. But I don't know, dude. You just got to go out there and handle business. I don't ever treat a game as a fan. There's a lot of people and I'm just going to say it, and I don't care if it pisses people off. 4 or 5 weeks ago, there was a lot of people talking trash about the Bears. And as we got closer to the game, those fans are getting really quiet. And on both sides, you've got Bears fans that talk trash all offseason. Closer you get to the game, they're getting quiet, right? Because people knows their mouth has written checks that their butts might not be able to cash. So here's the thing about the NFL. Any given Sunday, any team can win. Any team can beat any team. It's my opinion. I believe like Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy used to say that there are no bad players in the NFL. You've got good players and great players. And the difference between a good player and a great player most of the time is because a great player is put in a better position to succeed, right? You're not going to have a quarterback come into the league that's trash. I'm sorry. It's not true. It isn't. You know, people like to dog Jeff George. Jeff George way back in the day, back in the 90s, right? Probably had more arm talent than over half of the quarterbacks in the league today. But he just couldn't put it together, right? He didn't have it between the ears. In game situations, he just couldn't put it together. It doesn't mean he's a bad quarterback. If you put him in a better situation, I mean, like look at Aaron Rodgers, right? People don't like to hear this, but the truth is the freaking truth. If you put Aaron Rodgers on a team like Tom Brady had and Tom Brady on a team like the Packers had, the success is probably going to be pretty similar, right? Because look at Bill Belichick's focus on special teams. The little things, the game time set, those things matter, man. They matter. They're boring. They're boring as hell as a fan, but they matter. So I don't know, man. Just again, they may be treating it like the Super Bowl, but it's one of 17 games, and you got to treat all of them the same. Is the way I kind of see it. Chad Inc. in the chat says, at Mike Hebring, I noticed that too. Doesn't seem like Matt LaFleur is in the mood for the media right now. I don't blame him. I don't know if you guys noticed, but what was the talk the last 2 years? It was about how Aaron Rodgers is a distraction. Aaron Rodgers this, now Aaron Rodgers is gone, and what do they immediately try to do? They try to flip the script on Matt LaFleur now, right? Yep. And I'm sorry, man. I hear the way they ask questions, and it's disrespectful. That's just the way I see it.
It's low blows. It's backhanded.
Bingo.
So, the way they word, and God, I can't. I don't want. I'm not going to name names because I don't want to start doing.
Don't. No, it ain't worth it. Don't.
So Matt, you know that you have a problem with this and this and this. So how are you going to overcome the fact that you aren't a good coach? You know what I mean?
There's always narrative placed in front of the question. You never just get a legitimate question. It's like they have to set this narrative before they can even ask.
Shine, I agree. Elevated Shine, but whatever. It's just like you talked about. Imagine
I scrolled down. Went, oh God, there it is.
Imagine your life. Your job is to cover a team that you clearly don't enjoy. Like, what are you doing? I don't know.
It makes no sense. And the part that gets me is they openly over and over and over say, I'm not a fan of this team anymore. He'll specifically say anymore. I'm not a fan of this team anymore. I'm going, what the hell? What'd they do to you, man? What happened, bro? What happened? They pull a Nancy Kerrigan on you and hit you in the knee with a pipe or something? Like, what happened?
On my knee.
That's the only thing I can come up with. I don't know, dude. But I'm with you, Jacob. I think about it. And what's crazy is I listen to his program almost daily, and I enjoy the content. And it's just like literally 2 or 3 times an hour, something like that said. And I'm going, why, dude? 90% of your listeners are Packer fans. Why are you trying to tick them off? And maybe it's so people will talk about them like we're doing right now. Maybe that's it. I don't know. John Schmidt in the chat says, losing Watson's speed hurts. Man, the wide receivers dominating the chat tonight. Yeah. I'm digging it. It does hurt, John, but at the same time, man, think about it. When you think about his speed, think of a moment or two from last year and where it applied, right? And this is how you can kind of get over that. I don't want to say fear, but that accepting the fact that it sucks that Watson isn't out there. I think of the Dallas game where he took the top off the defense, right? Well, Romeo Doubs has proven he can do that. Okay. He's fast enough. Jaden Reed is definitely fast enough to do that. I'll give you someone else. Luke Musgrave can take the top off. Okay. So it's not like we're just left. We only got one speed guy. He's hurt, and the rest of them are possession receivers, right? Like these are guys that can really move around the football field. So I wouldn't stress it too much. I'm excited to see the game plan, though. I think this game is going to be one, like I said, with the team that protects the ball is going to come out on top. I think the latest is it's still a 1-point spread, if I understood correctly, according to FanDuel Sportsbook. So it's going to be close. It's going to be who protects the football and who makes those key plays in those key moments. I'll tell you this, though. Go ahead, Jake.
No, I was just going to say, if you notice, though, that spread changed pretty quickly. It started, if I'm not mistaken, like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. They were like, gosh, I want to say it was more than 3, wasn't it? And that was basically a pick 'em, isn't it?
Yeah, it's right at it. Last I checked, it was 1 point is what I see. Now, it got to a half a point. And then I believe at one point when Christian Watson was listed as out, I think it went back to a point.
I was going to say, if Watson's a go, if Dobbs is a full go, I'd almost bet the Packers are getting a couple points. I'm just
yeah. All right, Mike Hebring in the chat says Jair should shut Moore down. Right? How do you feel about that, Tim? Do you think Jair? Do you think that DJ Moore can kind of put Jair on his heels, or do you think Jair handles that no problem if indeed they are matched up 1-on-1?
I'm with you. DJ Moore is a really, really good receiver. He's not on that upper echelon. He's not bordering elite. When we saw Ja lock down Jefferson last year, there was a reason for that. Justin Jefferson is, at that level. And it made sense and it clearly worked out for us, correct? So that was a situation where we saw, and Josh said it himself. Well, if I got beat, chances are it's because of something I did, and I can correct that. And it's not because of who I'm facing. So I think situationally, game plans can not necessarily go out the window, but they can evolve and change very quickly after that first series or, first few snaps even. So I think that with what we've seen with Coach Williams working with the secondary guys, particularly Jair, with being a little bit more pressed up on guys at the line, I could see them breaking that out. But I'm with you, Clayton. I think we're going to stick to our principles. And if we're going to see man, it's going to be some of that, man match or man on demand that you discussed. And, I think Ja is a versatile enough corner to do it. He can play you straight up man on man and follow you around all day long. But he's also a guy that can play the corners, and he can play in a space and come up and make a tackle, or maybe jump a route here and there. So, I think they're going to utilize him the right way, and I still think Ja's going to have that freedom to kind of line up where he wants to. So we might see some variance there, being that he does have that freedom. That if he wants to play a little off, he can. If he wants to play up a little, he can. So it's definitely something to keep an eye out for, but I don't see them like zoning in on DJ Moore like we did with Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, exactly. I'll tell you what you guys should zone in on, and that is Old Southern Barbecue Smokehouse. They got 5 locations in Rice Lake, Hudson, Arden Hills, Minneapolis, and Shakopee. Now, if you're at a distance, first of all, if you're local, go in, check it out, man. You can eat right there in house, but also if you're throwing together a Packers party or anything in the future where you're going to have some people over at your house, you want to have it catered, check out their catering menus where they've got everything from the briskets and the ribs, all that stuff, multiple sides. They can have the food brought right into you, make it as convenient as possible. But if you're like me and you're at a distance, but you still love to smoke and all that good stuff, grill out, you definitely want to check out some of their products at oldsouthernbbq.com. That's oldsouthernbbq.com. They've got multiple rubs. They've got 4 different sauces right here. You've got the Southern Gal Sweet Brown Sugar sauce. You've got Dixie Red Rich and Smoky. You got the Chicago Blue Mild and Tangy. And then my favorite, the Chicago Fire, which is absolutely awesome if you like spice, dude. I'm telling you, when Jacob sent that to me, it was, it's so good. It is so freaking good. But make sure you check them out. Again, that is Old Southern Barbecue Smokehouse, and you can check them out at oldsouthernbbq.com. Now, a special deal we've got going right now. If you do place an order there online, they got some really cool setups too, like some different bundles you can get. Make sure you type in the promo code PACKERNET15. That's capital P, Packer, no space, capital N, E-T, 15. No spaces. It's capital P, capital E, or capital P, capital N. It's PackerNet15. That'll get you 15% off your purchase. Make sure you check them out. Old Southern Barbecue. Appreciate them sponsoring the show. Back to the chat. Someone mentioned a little Quay Walker, and I know my man Tim going to get excited over that. He said, Zane Strong in the chat, member of the PTA Posse, said, I'm looking for Quay to have a big game. Man, I'm telling you, Tim, I want to see him just absolutely peel Justin Fields' cap, dude. I want to see him in that double rat. I want to see him just playing underneath and keeping his eyes on Fields. Guys, you've seen the chalk talk I did earlier. Jacob, I'm sure you've seen it, right? Like, if you haven't got a chance to watch it yet, he did not do anything in the past. The only passing play he hit on was when Ja got caught biting when he should have been mod and let Equanimeous St. Brown get behind him. That ended up setting up explosive play. Of course, triples your chances of scoring. They go down, get a 7-yard run by guess who? David Montgomery, who is no longer on the roster. So with that being said, you remove that and you remove the read option where we had 4 missed tackles on one play and Quay Walker's back was turned to the ball. I think Quay's going to come out and play a lot better. But what were you going to say, Jacob?
No, it's just one of the cool little wrinkles in Prize Picks, which you can bet an over-under on, which these did not come out until just a couple days ago, but they got Quay Walker slotted at 7.5 tackles or assisted tackles. Like, to me, I just every time I look at Prize Picks, I'm an idiot because I just over. I want more.
Hammer it.
They got Devondre at 7.5 and they got Quay at 7.5. I'm just saying, if the Bears are who we thought they were, they're going to be running. They be running a lot. And I think they're not going to be doing I should be nervous about this game without the fact that obviously Watts is in there. We could not have Dobbs. I just don't fear the Bears offense. And I think that our defense, I think Quay's going to eat, dude. I think Devondre is going to eat. I think that our defensive line is going to put Fields in a position that, and if I'm not mistaken, Clay, tell me if I'm wrong, but I believe it was either an interview with Kenny Clark or with someone else, and they asked him specifically, like, how do you expect to stop the run? And he's like, just wait and see. We got something new.
Yeah, dude, he was confident. Paul Brittle was talking about it. Yeah.
He's like, yeah, we got something new. You'll see it. And it's like, oh, okay. All right.
Absolutely, man.
Let's
Absolutely.
check that out.
Yeah, and it's hilarious too. Like John Schmidt says in the chat, I can't wait for Gary to welcome that rookie tackle to the NFL. Everybody immediately says, "Oh, well, we've got a stud right tackle, right?" Okay, he's a rookie tackle, right?
And actually,
go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, Darnell Wright, right? He's 6'5", 333 out of Tennessee, first round, 10th overall. His PFF grade is a nothing because we don't know anything about him, right? I'll tell you who we do know about. Rashawn Gary, first round pick, 2019, round 1, number 12 overall, 82.9 PFF grade just this last stint here. And we all know it's probably bigger than that, right? I would love, correct me if I'm wrong, and I'll be humbly corrected if that's what happens. I think that Darnell Wright is going to have his you-know-what kicked in all game. And I think that Rashawn Gary is going to make that guy feel like he should go back to Tennessee, hang out with Clayton, and just
hang out with Emilio down there.
Emilio.
I love it though, but immediately, Tim, the Bears fans, when you bring it up exactly that about Gary, well, we got a first round tackle now, and this is my response every time.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell you,
We don't care.
I'm just telling you, dude. I think Gary is chomping at the bit. Tim, how do you think they'll play that tomorrow? I think if for some reason we pull away a little bit, they'll probably, hey, let's back it off, Rashawn. Let's go ice it down, take the rest of the day off. But if it's a close game, Bain's going to want to be in there, right?
Yeah, and I think with him being on a snap count and being kind of watched under a microscope. We all understand that, but I will tell you this: if he's going to be on the field for a snap, they're not going to have him doing anything but what he does best. So I don't think they're going to restrain him in any way when he's actually on the field. I think they're just going to try and control that snap count. So he's going to make an impact, and I'm with you. I mean, this has the makings of being a close game, just on the strength of the fact that there are so many variables and unknowns too. Like, I mean, we can look at, you did a great chalk talk today, breaking down that last matchup last year, but there is so many changes, both teams. And, so we'll really see on Sunday, but I'm not saying it's going to be a shootout. But I think the defense is going to get home often and eat. And then I think the Bears are going to make adjustments. And I think it's going to come down to, our adjustments as well as the game progresses as to how we, put the nail in the coffin and get out of there with the win.
Yeah, definitely. It ain't got to be pretty. Let's get through week 1, get some snaps for these young guys, try to get a dub, come out of Chicago, and just like the old school lumberjack band marching around the corner there, run that mouth a little bit before you get on the team bus and get out of town. We got Josh Martin with the super chat says, the key to winning the game is the D-line is being aggressive but maintaining their zone to not over pursuit. that creates running lanes for Fields. Absolutely. And the thing that we noticed on Chalk Talk that we broke down today, Josh Martin, is those wide nines. You seen them playing that contain, didn't you? They didn't just pin their ears and go, right? Now, LaFleur made a comment earlier in the week that I don't want them to worry. I just want them to pin their ears and go. Bro, I guarantee you he said that in public, and then he went right back and was like, listen, we're keeping this dude in the pocket. Make him freaking play quarterback. Make him play quarterback.
Do you think that, or do you think there's any chance that we got like a designated Quay's spying him all game and that they're baiting him? They're saying, go ahead, Justin, run, go do whatever the heck you want to do, and just letting Clay eat.
I think he'd have to really put some yards on us before we went and all out spied him, right?
Yeah. I think it would take a major, like even that read option. I don't think they went back to the sideline there that last game, that game, the second game against the Bears last year. I don't think they went back to the sideline. They were like, oh, crap, all right, we got to do something different. I think they looked up and said, damn, guys, tackle. Like, he missed 4 tackles. Like, they literally it was the perfect play call. Like I outlined on Chalk Talk. Yep. They run a zone read, right, with a nickel blitz off of the zone read side. So literally, his focus is the quarterback, right? He's blitzing the quarterback. So it just so happens that, Justin Fields pulls the ball out of the belly, jabs outside. I don't blame Keyshawn as much because Keyshawn, if anything, you can't let Justin get outside, and he did not let him get outside. He forced him back into the teeth of the defense. It's just everybody else crapped the bed. But, as far as maintaining their zone, not over pursuing, I think that's going to be huge, Josh. I think it's going to be absolutely huge. For sure. And we appreciate the super chat, buddy. Thank you so much. We got another super chat. This comes in from United Bates. He said, I'm excited to watch Quay. Met him last year on my first trip to Lambeau. Look at that. First trip. Nice guy, and took time to talk to me. I think he learned from his mistakes. Him and Campbell are a beast together. Campbell is so underrated. And I'm telling you right now, if somebody's hungry this year, boys, Jacob, it is Devondre Campbell, dude. That guy, you've seen him on Twitter. He finally let the cat out of the bag just how hurt he was last year. Didn't make excuses all year long, and was just like, dude, if that ankle is good to go, how are you feeling about Devondre Campbell there with Quay Walker?
Dude, I love that man, and I'm not afraid to say it. I love Devondre Campbell. I mean, everything, like, you watch this dude post, he don't give a rip on Instagram. He's kind of like David Dock nowadays. He's kind of just throwing it out there. He's like, I made millions. I don't really care a crap what you guys think about me or whatever. I just love him. I love his mentality. And like you talked about, the guy was injured last year. He's made it known, and that he knows that he can play better. And I really do think that him just being at a regular par level is so much more than what we had from last year. And that if Quay takes that step, that linebacker crew, that's scary, bro. That's a couple of dudes that can cover and that can thump. And you guys give me 1 second here to pull this up, because, again, Devondre Campbell, 7.5 tackles, and Quay, 7.5 tackles. They got them both at that. Like, I think they're both going to blow past that. I mean, if like what we're thinking, the Chicago Bears run game, I think it's going to be pretty hot and heavy, pretty quick. They're going to try to think that what they can do, because to be honest with you, what you could have done to the Packers defense for the last few years, just run. You can just run and you can blow us up. And then when we don't stop the run, Justin Fields can drop back and then scramble, and we're screwed, right?
Yeah, so definitely. I'm hammering Quay there. I'm hammering the Quay over. You say 7.5 for both of them?
7.5 for both.
Yeah,
and that's
I would take
assisted and full tackles.
Yeah, and I would feel pretty comfortable about taking Devondre Campbell too. But the ankle injury, again, if we jump out to a big lead, I could see him resting the rest of the game. That would suck, get out to a 14-point lead. He's got 4 tackles, and they go, all right, he's done for the day. You're sitting there looking at your bet going, mother, that would suck. That would suck. Let's see. There was something else I was wanting to hit on. What was it? Those two guys to get. No, that's it. Anyway, thank you, United Bates. Appreciate you, buddy. Appreciate the super chat. And again, Josh Martin,
so well said about Quay Walker too. United Bates. I can vouch for that. I've met Quay a handful of times, and he always takes the time, to chat with you. And, the whatever image they were trying to create around him last year of him being, some kind of hothead or whatever, it's simply not true. It's like Clayton said, I don't care how you feel. I mean, the truth is the truth. You spend, a few minutes around the guy and get to know him a little bit, and you'll see exactly what we're talking about. So, and I think, with real quick about Quay here, my little take on this is a guy who was thrown into the fire as a rookie, and I still think he did pretty damn good.
He did awesome.
Considering, and now he's in year 2. He's a little bit more refined. He's made some strides, but now Devondre's got this nagging ankle issue. And so Quay is now playing from a standpoint where he knows that, hey man, at any minute here, it could just, this is going to be my spot, and it's going to be me and McDuffie, or, I'm going to be the leader. I'm the green dot. And so this is going to be a real interesting season when those two are on the field at the same time, seeing Quay and Devondre. I hope we see it for 17 games. But if we don't, be prepared to see Quay step up and embrace that leadership role for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Roger Davis in the chat, he's going to ask a strategic question here. He said, would you rather start on offense or defense first series? Boy, this is right down my alley. This is what I'm choosing. All right, let's say we win the toss. It's Chicago. You guys have seen on the ticker, the weather's supposed to be like 73 degrees, sunny to partly cloudy, 5 to 10 mile an hour winds. Get out there and check that wind pregame. All right, if you've got it blowing into an end zone, make sure you have the wind at your back in the fourth quarter. That's top priority, in my opinion, in Chicago. If you've got a crosswind, don't worry about it. I prefer to defer to the second half. That's me personally. However, I understand people who like to approach it from the standpoint of the team that takes the lead first. I think, I can't remember what the percentages is, but they win the majority of the time, right? So the team that jumps up on top first, so you want that first crack at that. Jacob, what's yours? Again, mine is check the wind. If the wind is at 10 mile an hour and it's blowing into an end zone, make sure the wind's at your back in the second half, or in the fourth quarter, I should say, in case it comes down to a field goal. And then as far as if there is no wind, I would prefer to defer to the second half. What do you prefer to there, Jacob?
Oh boy.
I know you play Madden. What do you choose, man? Talk to me.
Well, I mean, come on now. The Madden pick's pretty much tough. And I to me, I mean, and this is going to sound like a stupid kind of hippie kind of answer, but to me, I'd ask my team, I'd say, what do you feel like? Like, are you ready to go right now? Like, are you ready to bite someone's freaking head off? Are you ready to bust kneecaps? Are you ready to just absolutely demolish these people? If so, which one of you? Is it the offense or the defense? Who wants the ball? Who wants the first shot at this? And I want, like, my captains to tell me, yeah, I want this. I want to, like, and I, like you talked about, you have to look at more conventional things like the weather elements, the logistical things that make more kind of common sense. But if it's a 50-50 crapshoot, I want to ask my guys, what do you think? What do you feel right now? You got the fire? No? Okay, then we're going to kick it. If you got the fire in your belly, then all right, we're going to take the ball. You know what I mean? Like, it's whatever it is, man. Tell me. That's how, in my opinion, that's what a good coach can do. Judge what your guys, what your troops, what your, what they're for. Tell me what's up. We'll go on the battlefield and put the product out there.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for the super chat, Mike Hebring. He says, off topic a bit, but the Vikings might be extending Justin Jefferson soon. Say give him at least $100 million per.
Oof.
Now,
Oof.
if Burrow is worth 55, JJ worth 100. Whoo, that 100 million per. Nah. I would have to look at the market. He definitely, Mike, I will say this, bub, he deserves the top of the market. I think he might be the best wide receiver in the league. I think he may be. Tim, how do you feel about Justin Jefferson? Let's take our green and gold colored goggles off here for a second, all right? Justin Jefferson, where do you rank him in the NFL, and what do you think he's worth as far as, is he worth top money? Is he worth top 3, top 5? Or do you even see the receiver position as being worth that much money? How do you see that, man?
Well, to speak to Justin Jefferson, I mean, I think he's a top 5 receiver in the league right now. Going into this season, of course, we haven't seen what kind of year he's going to have this year, but I think if he was in green and gold, we would love him, So as far as the position, I mean, the NFL is a more gun than run type of league as of late. So I think wide receiver is probably more valuable now than it was maybe 10 or 15 years ago. So I don't know about 100 mil per, but I will say this. I do think Jefferson belongs in the top 5 list, or whatever we want to want to do. Make your top 5 list of wideouts in the NFL. Justin Jefferson's going to fall somewhere in that category to me. Top 10 for sure. There's no debate on that.
Tim, I'd go top 3, to be honest. Yeah. I hate saying it.
Yeah. I think I would too. Like I said, I don't think anybody should go into a negotiation going, all right, we're going to make him the highest paid wide receiver. I think you get top 3, top 5, top 10, kind of break it down incrementally like that. I don't know if you guys can see it. I'm sure it's blurry, but his contract here in 2023, his cap hit, you talking about a steal, $4.1 million. In 2024, I guess that's a 5th-year option, $19.7 million. And then he'll be an undrafted free agent. Now, when you look at his market value, according to Spotrac, his market value is 28.7 average annual salary. So the contract that they say he is worth, it is very rare they do a 7-year market value contract, but that's what they've got. 7 years, $196.4 million with an average annual salary of $28 million. And I think, let's see here what the guarantee, it does not mention the guarantee. So yeah, like I said, a couple years out on that, but yeah, the way I kind of see that is, well, that looks weird, don't it? Look at this. Let's see if we can get back where we were. There we are. Yeah. So I would think by the time he hits the market, it may be as high as 35 million per. But if he stays healthy, Mike, I think he's worth every penny. Now, as far as 100 a year, if you're talking about 100 million per year, like I said, per year, no way. I'm not doing it. I don't care if it's Jerry Rice walking through that door, right? Personally, but yeah, good stuff, man. Good stuff. Make sure we didn't miss anything else. And again, Mike, thank you so much for the super chat, buddy. I'm going to try to get caught up on these guys, but we have fallen way behind. Obviously, we want to honor those with the super chats, and we appreciate everybody's support in the stream. Adam in the chat says Reed or Musgrave will have a huge day tomorrow and be considered a favorite going forward for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Book it. Jacob, that sounds good to me, dude. I'm telling you, Musgrave, every time I talk to Paul Brettel, he's very high on Musgrave, right? Every time I hear Andy Herman talk, and when we had him on here, I heard Andy Herman, I think it was on with Marcus Eversole the other day live on WDUZ in Green Bay. And he said, all camp long, I kept trying to what was it? What was the word he said? He said, temper expectations, right? He said, I can't do it anymore. The dude has absolutely wowed us in camp. Absolutely wowed us in camp. Now, the other sportscaster, which will remain unnamed again, that we talked about earlier, he came out and said, well, the people I trust say that it takes several years for tight ends to become accustomed and this and that. And it's like, okay, dude. How long did it take George Kittle? How long did it take Travis Kelce? How long did it take Goddard in Philly? If they're a good tight end, they pop quick.
Yeah, and
if mediocre tight ends might take a year or two.
Usually it's the other way around. They pop quick, and then you hope they can play a long time. Right. Like the guys like Gronk are like freaks of nature.
Kyle Pitts, look what he did. He was. Everybody said he was and I'll say this, like Tim just said. You come off and you pop. So in the last 40 years, basically it's been, maybe it's more than that. So it's been like Ditka, Evan Ingram, Kyle Pitts, and Jeremy Shockey basically are the last few amount of tight ends. There might be one more I'm missing there that have gotten over 750 yards in their rookie season. So I understand that there's a bit of and they say that the tight end position is very hard to learn in your rookie year as a pro, which I understand because think about it. You have to learn all the passing concepts, all the run blocking concepts, all the route trees. You have to probably do a lot of special team stuff, right? So you're
and everything's moving 100 times faster.
Yes, exactly. But I have no problem saying that Luke Musgrave, I think he's going to, I really do think that he's going to get over at least 500 yards passing. I mean, if the guy stays healthy, obviously that's a caveat. But even you look at, I think that this, again, through a fantasy football lens, when you guys look at, if you do a matchup, let's say, if you go to DraftKings and you go to a daily matchup or a one-on-one matchup for the Chicago Bears Packers game, you got Aaron Jones, Jordan Love, and Justin Fields are up there at the top at, like 11,000, 10,000, 9,000. They have Malik Heath at $200. They have Dontavian Wicks at $300. They have Luke Musgrave at, I think, like $3,700. You could pepper all those guys in and still sign the guys like the big wigs, right? So, and if you're a fan of your team, the week 1, week 2s, I say this all the time in college football. This is the time, if you know your team and you're going into a week where maybe you have some injuries, that's where you go and flood some of those little low dollar bets, and it's like, because nobody on the opposition is thinking of Malik Heath. Nobody's thinking of Dontavian Wicks. Oh, nobody's really thinking that Luke Musgrave is a real tight end. You guys have an opportunity there to slip in week 1 and make a lot of money. I'm not telling you to bet. I'm just saying, if the Packers go off, there's nobody other than diehard Packers fans that are making those guys picks. I'm just saying.
Definitely. All right. Carly Ray in the chat says, talking defense, I'm wondering if they will start Rashawn, then go to Enigbare after so many snaps, or if Enigbare will start at the other outside linebacker position, given how well he played in the preseason. I'll tell you, the way he played in the preseason, Carly, I think it kind of justifies him a spot, but I think they're going to go with Preston Smith opposite Rashawn Gary, rotate Enigbare in. Now, the cool thing about Enigbare in the preseason, you've seen him do that straight arm bull rush, right, from the left side, from the defensive perspective. And then you also seen that over-under move, or the swim move, rather, from the right side. So he can play both sides, right? And I think you're going to see a little bit of a rotation on those passing downs on the interior with our boy Lucas Van Ness. I'd like to see him get involved there as well. What did you see in the chat, Jacob?
No, nothing. John's just telling me, says, Jacob, you're going to send me to Gamblers Anonymous.
I love it, dude. Hey, that's just just how it is.
The damn weed.
You got to control it, boys. I'm telling you, keep it. Set you a rule. Listen,
don't spend
responsible gambling.
Yes.
Set you a rule, set you a budget, and say, all right, here's how much money I've got to gamble with this year. And when I lose it on week 1, which will probably happen, then you just stay with it. All right. It's just the way it is. John Schmidt in the chat says Belichick would have traded AR-12 away. They wouldn't get along at all. Can you imagine Bill when his starting quarterback starts talking about doing hallucinogens in South American? It's funny you mentioned that, John, because the rumor was this offseason that the Patriots wanted Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron Rodgers declined to be traded to the Patriots. So keep that in mind. You can Google that and find that report. So it's funny that you mentioned that because it sounds like it was the other way around. Although, I don't know, man. Maybe Bill's on the shrooms too. Who knows, right? Who knows? Maybe that's how he drums up those really good defenses, right? And by the way, guys, I just got this. I'm so excited about it. Just came in the mail today. A little throwback, right? And look, it's the Bill Belichick hoodie, baby. The cutoff hoodie. Edition. Let's go. Let's go. I love Belichick. I'm sorry. I just can't help it. I'll be watching their game early tomorrow. It's just the way it is. All right, let's see here. What else we got in the chat before we get ready to wrap this big bear up? I know there was another one up here I was looking at. I keep losing my place. You guys are awesome, dude. Y'all have lit it up tonight. This is a good point. Roger was Wildy's boy. He doesn't think Matt can get it done without him. Mike, again, I listen to the show all the time. I like Wildy. I do. I just don't understand why he approaches it the way he does from time to time. But as far as Rodgers being his boy, you hit the nail on the head. Like you can tell he wants LaFleur to fail miserably. Now he'll say he wants the team to do well because it's good for his business, but I'm telling you, man, he's definitely wanting to fall flat on his face. There's no doubt about that. Yep. Let's see here. What else we got? Chad Inc. says, when we went to Arizona with none of our starting wide receivers, I thought about this the other day, Chad. It was like 2 days ago I thought about this. With none of our starting wide receivers, and Matt LaFleur had an amazing game plan, and we came out with a dub. I trust Matt LaFleur. The guy's amazing offensive mind. I was thinking about it the other day. I'm like, when has he ever had to kind of win against adversity? Because, the argument's always he's got Aaron Rodgers, right? But when Tay was out that game with COVID, right, against Arizona, and they came out and just lit it. I mean, and Arizona, it's easy to look at Arizona now, Jacob, and they're horrible, right? They're hot garbage. But at the time, they were like the best team in the NFC when we went down there to play them, right? And Rasul Douglas with that game-sealing interception.
Oh, that's right.
That was the loudest pop anybody's gotten out of me in the last 3 years of watching Packer football. I'm telling you, I screamed like a freaking kid, dude. But how do you feel about Matt LaFleur's ability to game plan, like Chad's saying here?
I've been a very harsh critic of Matt LaFleur in certain ways, and probably that was unjustified, if I'm being honest with myself and if I'm reevaluating what I've said. But my gripes have been with the fact that the guy's just not. He's just not tough. He just seems like the guy that he seems like he's gonna cut your hair, not coach your football team. Like it's just. And I've seen in the last year something's clicked with this guy. Something has clicked inside of him where he says, like, I don't want to do this, you know what, anymore. And I'm sick of people pushing me around. And I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired.
I think I know what clicked. I think I know what clicked.
What clicked?
Well, I mean, come on, guys. Aaron's gone, and this is Matt's team now.
Oh.
You know, this is Matt knows that this is my team.
And so
I'm
he's
the damn
not
head
afraid
coach.
to
I'm the damn head coach. Everyone can
Yes.
have the input they want to have, but at the end of the day, this is my team, and this is how we're going to run. This is how we're going to play this year. We talked about setting the
All
tone
right,
early.
hey, that's just the way we talk in the clink.
That's how we do it in the clink, Tim. Tell him,
That's
Tim.
right. Prison Matt in full effect.
That's a meme.
Oh
That's
my
a meme.
God! Get him
Somebody
with the
make it
do-rag.
happen.
You got to get the
Yes.
do-rag.
Prison Matt
on it.
is not.
Prison
He's
Matt.
not putting up with missed tackles. He's not putting up. Hey, we see with Jonathan Garvin, he didn't put up with missing OTAs and playing like crap when you show up to training camp. You know, we set the tone early, and I'm with you, Jacob. I like pissed off Matt LaFleur more than I want to be everybody's friend, Matt LaFleur.
Yeah.
And it looks like right now, Matt ain't trying to be friends with anyone. He's got enough friends. He's got a great family. He's got a great job, a great young team here to coach, and he's trying to win ball games. And the rest of it is all nonsense. I love it. I love seeing this side of him, and I hope it lasts all year. I really do. We talked about that months ago. What did we say? We wanted to see a little more piss and vinegar, and looks like we're getting it, guys.
Take it out.
Fired up over here, dude. Got me fired up. I'm telling you, Prison Matt, that's happening.
Yeah.
We're making that
Hey,
meme happen, bro.
Hey, that's just how we talk at 1265.
I love it, dude. I love it.
All
And he
right.
hasn't even had
Elevation.
any daddy. Tim hasn't even had any daddy sodas tonight either, man. My man
Nope.
is primed up for the game.
Elevated
I love
Shine, get us the Prison Matt, please. Get us that.
Can we have or have Justin hook something up or something, man?
Justin. There we go.
Oh yeah, we're gonna make it happen, dude. It's done. It's done deal. I promise you that. It's a Photoshop waiting to happen. Let's see.
Oh, by the
here.
way, real quick, because I know we're already over. I didn't get a chance to give my my take on the whole coin toss
Oh
scenario.
yeah, that's right, man. I'm
So
sorry.
you know I'm a defensive guy. So you know what I'm going to say. I'm going to say if we win the toss, I say we defer, and I say we put our boys out there. We 3-and-out them right away, get the ball back with great field position, and we go to work. And then
Roadhouse.
that's right. And that
Just
ball
like
in the second half coming back to our offense is a great feeling too. So, you know, maybe we get creative. Hey, how about onside kick in the opening kick?
Oh, surprise onside. First kickoff.
Right out of the
year.
gate.
Please don't do
Oh
that.
my God,
Please.
dude.
Look at Jacob.
Jacob said, please don't do that.
Jacob's trying to cancel bets right now.
Don't do that.
Now look at this. We're getting ready to wrap this show up. Everybody's laughing. Everybody's having a good time. And United Bates said, I'm going to drop a 10 spot just to piss everybody off. He said, how are we feeling about Joe Barry? Well, let me go first, United Bates. I like Joe Barry, okay? When I watch the tape, I see great schemes. I don't ever find myself going, damn, Barry, that's a bad. Like I just told you the read option, right? That's one of two explosive plays in that game. And he called the perfect play call. The other one, Jair got beat against the Bears there deep with Equinemi and St. Brown to set up the other touchdown run by David Montgomery. Again, blown coverage, great play call. I can't find it. I cannot find the tape from last year. And I keep telling people, and listen, I'm not trying to be a smart aleck, guys. I'm begging people, show me. Like right here, look, Emilio, he'll be watching the All-22 the whole game. Look, listen, I need you to find me a timestamp. Go to a game last year and go, this was a horrible play call by Joe Barry, and timestamp it for me. And I'll pull it up, and you may be right. I haven't found it. Immediately, people think of the Washington game, right? I did a chalk talk on the Washington game and showed that it was blown coverage. When you've got a guy running butt naked through the trailer park across the middle, right, and he catches a pass, and they see a Darnell Savage trailing him from 10 yards away, right? He tackles him, and they go, oh, look how far Barry's got him playing off. But then you see Darnell Savage stand up, look at Adrian Amos, and they both go, like, they're confused. Somebody blew the coverage. Like, I don't know if Savage was right. I don't know if Amos was right, but I know somebody was wrong, right? I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, okay? I'm from Harlan County, Kentucky. If it wasn't for my toes, I couldn't count. I'm just telling you right now. But when you see two people arguing with each other that the other one made a mistake, somebody made a mistake, right? So I'm just begging people, show me. And I'll tell you where it started. It started with some of the podcasters. It started with some of the live post-game shows where people were half drunk and making idiots of themselves and telling listeners to commit suicide and all these stupid things, right? Those are the ones going, hey, Barry playing soft again. And I'm watching the tape going, and if you mention watching the tape, if somebody like me, I'm going to get here real close. If somebody like me mentions, while I watch the tape, oh, we got a tape guru, because all they want to do is get drunk as a skunk during a watch party and then pretend like they understand what's going on the field. And if God forbid someone disagrees with their take, now all of a sudden, oh, well, you're just okay. You're a tape guy. It absolutely drives me bonkers. I'm done with my rant. I feel good about Barry, but the argument I do have, or the argument I struggle with, is when people say, what has Barry done anywhere he's gone? And I go, yeah, because when he's a defensive coordinator in other places, they finished dead last, right? But again, we improved his first year, right? Injuries a lot last year. I think that played a role. And I think Jair Alexander, when he came out earlier this year and said, I think we were making excuses for ourselves, talking about him and the DBs. Remember when they were saying they wanted to play a little different, right? I think that comes into play too. But anyway, I like him. Jacob, you go, buddy. How you feel about Joe Barry?
All right. So this is going to sound like kind of a cop-out, but it's just not. I've grown to understand, like you said, Clayton, that Joe Barry has a scheme, and whether or not the scheme gets executed properly or not, we should not. Joe Barry made a good scheme. If the guys didn't play the plays and do the responsibility, get their designations, do what they're supposed to do on any given play, we can't blame the guy. And it sounded like was it Jerry Gray was the old defensive coach?
Yeah. Yeah, he was the old DB's coach. Yeah,
I believe he's not here anymore. Is that correct?
No, he's not. He left.
And there was some sort of, I believe, like some sort of kind of mix up there where they didn't seem like you talked about how the D-backs were maybe feeling a certain type of way. And I think that now maybe this is a more unified defensive front. And I think, especially when the front seven, I mean, I just don't think that this team is going to be clear. You look at what we lost, addition by subtraction or whatever you call it. I love the guy, Dean Lowry. You know, you've been a great Packer for a long time. Jerron Reed, thank you for your service. But that was just, you guys were fillers. And I don't mean to say that as if I could never play the position. I'm a bum. Those guys were not elite athletes at that position. I believe that we have replaced them with elite athlete potential. Devontae Wyatt. I mean, look at Brooks and Wooden and the guys that are on the edge. Quay and freaking Devondre. I mean, and you look at our secondary, obviously the safety is our biggest glaring need right now, but Joe Barry has a lot of puzzle pieces to use. And I will say that after this year, this will be my test. This will be my, whether or not I believe Joe Barry is worth, being even in this league, because if he can't succeed with this team, with this amount of talent, this amount of first round talent, then yeah, I think that it's time for him to hang up the cleats that he coaches with. So, gotcha.
Tim, how you feel about Joe Barry, Bob?
Well, I feel like Joe Barry wasn't missing tackles last year. So
that's what I'm saying.
I spent a little bit of time with him at camp this summer. I got to walk with him over to the facility and chat with him a bit. And I'll tell you, from my perspective, man, he's the kind of guy you want coaching your defense, man. He's one of these guys that's a coach's coach and a player's coach at the same time. And guys needed to buy in. And to Clayton's point, when he referred to Jair's point, it's true. A lot of them guys were making excuses last year. There was a lot of finger pointing and confusion on the field. and guys kind of going rogue. When you see Jair leave his assignment and blow up a play and make a great play, it looks great. But
it happened that same game
yeah,
too. Was crazy.
And in actuality, if he doesn't and he misses bad, or his read is off and it's a 67-yard touchdown, it looks terrible. So playing within the confines of the system and believing in the system is a big thing, and the players have to do this. Now, to Barry's point, I will say this: I do feel like, and we've seen it, he's definitely has an agenda of being more aggressive this year, which is good. It's something we all as fans wanted to see a little bit more of. And also the fact that he's playing to the strengths of the players within his defense. So I think as much as we just talked about the players, having to do their job and, buy into the system, your coordinator's also got to kind of tailor that system to the guys that he has at his disposal. And to Jacob's point, we've clearly upgraded at basically everywhere except safety. I mean, so, the defense, to me, I'm excited. And with Joe Barry, man, I'll tell you, I'm not a fighting man, but I'll fight for Joe Barry, man. So don't have too many daddy sodas around me and start flapping your gums about our defensive coordinator. And hey guys, we're going to see it tomorrow. He's in the booth. Okay. He's not on the sidelines. He's where a coordinator should be. Coordinator should be in the booth.
I agree with that. Yeah.
And this will be a really good opportunity to see, for him to see his quarters concepts out there in real time working and being able to get these adjustments made. I think it's going to be great. So yeah, I feel great about Joe Barry. I really do. I'm not one of those people. I never hated him. I remember when we first brought him in, people, oh, well, God, he was such a dumpster fire, and they haven't won, and teams he's been coordinating for, they finished last. It's like, yeah, that just means he's due. That's how I look at it. I look at it from a positive angle, like, well, man, this is like, again, a baseball analogy. Man, yeah, you got a guy who's been putting up offers, and he steps in the box, and you got a pitcher throwing nothing but fastballs. You're probably betting on that guy to come out of his slump. So I think Joe Barry's gonna get it going this year for us guys. I really do. This, like Jacob said, Jacob's only given him this season, so he better do it.
Right. And what's crazy is, like, everybody loved him after the first year, right? It was, man, that's exactly what we needed. Holy cow, this defense is trending in the right direction. And then you take a step back, but people don't want to realize you lose Rashawn Gary, right? Rashawn Gary is your best edge defender, guys. That's a premier position. That's a tier 1 of importance position. You lose an all-pro outside linebacker, all-pro caliber outside linebacker, edge defender, right? Of course your defense is going to take a hit, right? On top of blown coverages and everything. Let's go through the chat here. And again, United Bates, thank you for smacking the hornet's nest. We appreciate the super chat, bub. Here we go. Let's hit the comments. I know there's going to be many disagreeing, and that's totally cool. That's what we're wanting. Our Shower says, if we aren't a top 12 defense with our talent, Joe Barry has got to be the issue. Okay, let me ask you this. Were they a top 12 talent? Were they a top 12 defense with that same talent under the previous defensive coordinator? I'll wait for your answer. The answer is no.
Nope.
Right? Why did we run Dom Capers out before we bring in Mike Pettin? Right? So Dom Capers was the problem. Mike Pettin was the problem. Now Joe Barry's the problem. I'm sorry, guys. Maybe there might be something to how we scout DBs. Now, immediately you think, okay, who were the great DBs in Packers history, right? The more recent history. Charles Woodson, right? They didn't scout him. They signed him in free agency, right? What do we always go to when we draft DBs? We go for extremely high ceilings, right? And, I mean, remember Josh Jackson? Josh Jackson was supposed to be the next great thing. Remember Kevin King?
Remember
his RAS through the roof?
Remember Ahmad Carroll?
Yes.
Quentin Rollins, Demarius Randall.
And I guarantee you there's people right now that are saying, but Clayton, those are different GMs. Guys, it's the same family of GMs. They all come from the Ron Wolf school of thought, right? Every one of them do. So, again, if we've got all the talent in the world, when are they going to put it together? And there's another comment I want to get to here in a minute. Mike Heberine, this is a comment you hear a lot too. Joe Barry may not be the problem, but he sure as hell ain't the solution. I love the way he works. Mike. That is a valid point, and I'll tell you why. Because if it's one thing to say he isn't the problem, which is what I'm saying, but it's another thing to say, oh no, he's the solution for this defense. I'm not saying he is a top 10 defensive coordinator. I'm simply saying when you turn on the tape, he wasn't making mistakes last year. You've seen the players making mistakes. And again, like Tim pointed out, the players took ownership of that, right? Next chat, Cheesehead Murph, I'm fine with Joe Barry as long as he uses the personnel to their strengths. Absolutely. Now, the only problem with that is, Murph, and this is the thing I struggle with, like Eric Stokes, right? A lot of people don't want to accept the fact that Eric Stokes was hot garbage before he got hurt last year. You know, one of the things that changed when this defense got better in the mid stretch of the season was, or kind of the third the third part of the quarter of the season, if that makes sense, right? You got, you know, your first four to five games, your next 4 to 5 games. It was that third 4 games, that stretch, that the defense really cranked it up. Guys, Eric Stokes was out of the lineup. I mean, he's supposed to be a man coverage corner, right? And they literally throw a go ball. He's in deep man coverage, mod, whatever you want to call it, and he doesn't even turn to find the ball. That's not on the defensive coordinator. It's not, right? That's just the way I see it. Joe Barry has been calling good plays up in the sky booth. I completely agree. And like these guys were saying, man, that makes all the sense in the world to me. I want to be able to see everything. I don't know why you would want to be on the sideline as a play caller. That makes no sense. Even with Matt LaFleur being the play caller, I don't like that he's on the field like that. You know, I really don't. Now, your head coach ain't going to go up in the booth. I understand that. But if you got a play caller up there communicating with the head coach, and maybe he does have, you know, quote unquote spotter up there. I'm sure he does. But yeah, I'm completely in agreement there, and so is Cheesehead Murph. Emilio in the chat, tape never lies, and also, like he said, the guys took responsibility. Absolutely. This is a good one right here. John Schmidt says, "Isn't it Barry's job to make sure the guys are coached up and not confused, though?" Okay, so what you're saying there, John? Think about this. Think about it. You're saying that Jair Alexander, the highest paid corner in the entire National Football League, needs the defensive coordinator to make sure he isn't confused on a quarters coverage mod. Man, I drew it up. I drew it up on Chalk Talk. Guys, I'm an idiot. I'm a moron. And if I can understand the responsibility, I guarantee you Jair understands the responsibility. Jair got caught peeking. He got caught peeking underneath and got burned deep. That's what happened. Same thing happened against Terry McLaurin in Washington when the go-ahead touchdown, you know, that go-ahead touchdown to McLaurin, he beat Jair over the top, right? It is what it is. Good players get beat sometimes too. But again, though, yeah, it's his job to coach them up. But if you, no one's going to convince me, and we can just respectfully disagree. No one's going to convince me that it's Joe Barry's job to make sure that Jair Alexander, the highest paid corner in the league, doesn't blow his assignment. Okay, he should, if anything, he should be doing the things like what Tim was talking about. Kenny Clark's doing after practice this year in training camp, keeping the guys on and helping other people understand their assignment. That's what Leroy Butler did. That's what Charles Woodson did, making the players around them better, helping them understand the scheme. Nick Collins was great at it back in the day as well. Roger Davis in the chat, players make plays, coaches put them in a position to make the play. That is correct. All you can do is draw up a scheme to put your guys in a position to win, i.e. Keyshawn Nixon with the nickel blitz on a read option, i.e. quarter coverage against a team when you're up by 10 points and not letting them beat you deep. And, you know, that's on the player when that happens personally. So, all right, let's see here. Let's get ready to wrap this thing up. I just want to hit on some of those chats because, man, I'm telling you, my man stirred the pot, and I love it, dude. I love conversations like this, United Base. And, again, guys, the ones I'm disagreeing with, I'm not saying I'm right and you're wrong. I'm just giving you my opinion, and we can respectfully disagree. That's just what I'm seeing when I watch the tape. That's all that is. Let's see here. I like this right here. So pro. Yes, sir. Finally, full-time Slayton and Wyatt. Dude, I'm telling you, last year, Jacob, I know you would agree with this, Tim. I'm sure you would too. To think that we have Wyatt and TJ Slayton out there this year, as opposed to, obviously Kenny was out there last year, as opposed to Dean Lowry and Jaron Reed, huge improvement, right?
I'm saying, man, it's night and day. And plus the fact that, not just those two, but like we talked about Kobe and Brooks, and oh my God, dude, like I just imagine the depth. I mean, like it's just, we have young guys that are hungry. They have almost been disrespected by being told that, like, you're not going to be good. You guys don't have any chance. Still to this day, when you think about people talking about who the NFC North, who the winners are going to be, nobody talks about the Packers. there's like maybe 3 or 4 guys that are out there being like, hey, Jordan Love's like pretty dang good, and the defense is pretty darn good. They got like 8 first-round draft picks on that defense or something like that. Like, that's pretty good, guys. And no. One thing too is like in the chat, I see you guys are interacting with each other, and it's like very cordial. You guys are like going back and forth at each other, but it's in a very respectable way. And I want to keep that because this channel is not going to be about doing needless drama and fighting back and forth. This is about presenting information and then having a debate about that information. We're not trying to tell you that we're smart, that you're dumb, we know anything more than you do. We're just saying this is what I think, and then you can say what you think, and then let's just please keep it cordial because honestly, it's been great. Everything's great so far. So I just don't want it to look and get into some weird, sloppy, dirt, gutter, swamp, internet crap, which is what everything is nowadays. The whole world's full of dirt, swamp, internet crap. Why don't we just keep it? We're keeping it good here. Anyways, I appreciate y'all. You guys are doing great.
Definitely. Yeah, and Emilio had a problem earlier. We were talking about it offline. He was trying to join the PTA posse. He's sending me screenshots from his phone. He has no join tab, no join option. It was so strange. So he basically made a donation to the channel, so he's going to be entered into the contest as well. But it sounds like United Baits, I don't know if he did another thing where he donated to other people and gifted it, but regardless, pretty cool stuff. All right, let's get ready to wrap this thing up. I want to thank everybody for hanging out with us. I do want to give a shout out to the newest PTA posse members. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go check real quick and make sure there wasn't any more because if I'm understanding the chat correctly, there may have been a few gifted there. Tim, parting thoughts, buddy. You got anything else for us?
Excited for the game. I tweeted about it earlier. The season, my first season as a local Packers fan, kicks off tomorrow. I'm very excited. Going to have a little driveway tailgate party with the missus. So go Pack go. It's going to be a close game, I think, closer than a lot of us would like to think it would be. But we're coming out with the dub because our defense is going to be smothering and our offense is going to be lights out. Guys, go Pack go.
Love it. Jacob, what you got, buddy?
I just can't get over. I keep reading the chat, man. You guys are awesome. So it looks like that, if I'm not mistaken, I think that United Baits just gifted a bunch of more stuff. I don't know. Maybe Carly Ray's asking what's going on. Emilio is saying he gifted a bunch more. Mr. Cheesehead Murph is in there. You guys are great. I'm just saying, keep this love that we got going. This is going to be like the best, dude. I'm so excited for this year. You guys should be excited. We have a lot of really positive things going on, and it's only going to get better. Like everything that we've built coming into this season just feels like it's coming to a really great fruition. We finally got a lot of people that are just like, they get what we're doing, guys, and you guys get what we're doing, and it's just fun, man. Nobody takes themselves too seriously, and we try to just have like an even keel. Like we talked about, man, it's just nobody thinks that they're smarter than anybody. We're just throwing out ideas, talking about Packer football, and what's better than that, dude? Tomorrow, less than 12 hours away, we have Packers football, guys.
Yeah, we made it.
Holy, I should say probably a little more than 12 hours, but
love it.
It's coming.
So I went through the YouTube members page because I've been jotting them down and putting them in the database because midnight tonight is the cutoff. So a bunch of people just slid in at the last second here. And I'm just going to tell you this right now. My wrist is going to be hurting because it looks like United Baits just donated a bunch more. So I'm going to try to rattle off the newest YouTube members here, okay? We've got, I think it's Damier the Dragon, Goose, Mark Thompson, John Smith, Robot Stranding, Johnny Bacon, Bass Droob, Hip Hop Anonymous, Elevated Shine, R Showers, Allison Tuckwab. I hope I'm saying that right. Man, these names are some of them are. I don't know if they're serious or not. I'm afraid I'm going to say something inappropriate. Bomba Clot Seb, Jake K, Shannon Burton, the number one Packer fan, John Jacob, Derek After Dark, MF Doom, Chuck Freisinger, 18 May, Felix K, Eric Moore, Tony Young, Garrett McBride, Weasel, B-Form, LeBron Legacy Podcast, Brian Buttle, Melissa Hare, C. Bishop, Mark Booth, Jason Woodruff, Todd Vandersize, IROC, Sergeant McClellan. And, sir, that name is in, I believe, Japanese. Hey, welcome. You probably don't understand a thing I'm saying. I promise you that. I barely speak English. We got Luke. No. Eric T. Life of Mary. Dude, it's on and on and on. I think I'm about done. Yeah. Let me finish these up. I'm sorry. I'm Wildies. Is that Jason Wildy? Is he a member now? I don't know. Let's see. Con Steve, Jason Griffin, Vinny Hugo, Bill the Butcher, Tucker H, Heezy 340, Tat Chad, Dan Glossy, and Patricia P. Hey, welcome to the PTA posse. And I'm telling you, I'm going to be up late tonight filling this will out so we can spin it tomorrow. So all of you are entered into the contest to win the autographed Lucas Van Ness jersey like this one right here. And also a small piece of a game-worn jersey of Aaron Rodgers that Jacob's giving away. We're going to spin the wheel once tomorrow on the post-game show. We're going to go live immediately following the game. We'll spin the wheel once. The first winner will get the autographed Lucas Van Ness jersey. The second time through, the second winner will get that small patch of the Aaron Rodgers game-worn jersey. So, again, United Bates, dude, you're everything that's right in the world, bro. You're awesome. And when we wrap this podcast up every time, what we say, it's people like you that we're talking about, man. That's how you make the world a better place. So I want to thank everybody in the chat. You guys were awesome. Thank you for bringing your honest opinions, because if it's the old Bill Walsh, understand that Matt LaFleur's system in this offense, right? It's a West Coast offense, okay? It goes all the way back to Bill Walsh. And Bill Walsh created a front office, right? A front office that kind of, Ron Wolf kind of come from Oakland, but they briefly crossed paths when they were in Oakland. Bill Walsh was there for a season, and that's where he actually met Ron Wolf the first time. You've got all these ties between Bill Walsh's coaching tree, his front offices, to the Green Bay Packers, right? And all across the rest of the league. And a Bill Walsh quote was, one of his most famous quotes was, "If we're all thinking alike, then no one is thinking at all." Okay. That's what I love about our chat. It's exactly what Jacob was talking about, that we can disagree, but do it in a respectful way and come away learning from each other. That's the name of the game. So I want to thank everybody in the chat. Again, United Bates, you're absolutely awesome. Thank you so much, dude. For those of you listening on the pod, thank you for making us a part of your day. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world, and go Pack Go.
The power sweep. Actually, it's the lead play in our offense.
Come and tackle, take the defensive end if he's over him. If he's not, you drive down the first man to his inside. Pull back and tell him to take the first man outside the offensive tackle. No one shows. Go right by them and field inside. If the YN has the linebacker taken out, he cuts inside. If the YN has the linebacker in, he comes all the way around. So look at this play. What we're trying to get is a seal here and a seal here, and try to run this play in the alley.
All right, guys, we're still live, but I just need you to direct your attention to the lower left. Look at Elevated Shine's picture. Prison Matt in the house. Hey, y'all have a good night. Talk to y'all tomorrow. Go Pack Go.
Dude.